Who is your daddy? I am your father.
You fathers will understand.
My father taught me many things here.
I got an idea. How about you all sit there quietly while I make dad noises?
You make me wait till 11 o'clock at night, and you know I go to bed at like 10 every night.
It's not my fault you're getting older, okay?
It's not my fault.
It's not my fault.
I have to wait for you. Sacrifices.
It's true.
That I make for this relationship.
That's what makes this relationship work, is the amount that you're willing to give. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
I think it's fair.
I'm pretty sure you sacrifice enough.
I think it's fair. Well, we're at episode 139 of Derek and Tim sacrificing things for each other.
Have you actually missed the show yet? I don't think so. I don't think I've done a show without you.
I don't think so. But there have been a few times when I was like, oh, I wonder if they could record without me. But then I'm like, I don't know. It would probably be just as much work to walk you through what to do than it would just to be on this.
Because I am thinking we really need a Derek, Daniel, and Sasan show. We don't need Tim. We just need Derek, Daniel, and Sasan. I think we'd own it. I think we would own that show.
I think it'd be a great show, fantastic conversation, and no one would ever listen to it because you guys wouldn't know how to put it online. That's the problem.
No, it would literally be Daniel talking the entire time, and Sasan and I just sending mad emojis at Daniel as he talks. So we wouldn't actually say anything. It would just be mad faces as Daniel says anything. Hey guys, Final Fantasy's so great. We're pissed off about that.
That is very true.
That's our conversations online.
All right, well let's go ahead and plan that out for like episode. hey, episode 140. Why don't you three record it, and Derek, Sasan, and Daniel record it, and they will together figure out how to get it posted online. That would be great. That would be wonderful.
I think it would be great. I really do. I trust Daniel and Sasan to get that done because I'm not doing it. So,
like how equal part co-host for the show refuses to learn.
I'm like the Colin Moriarty. You're the Greg Miller. Greg Miller did everything, and Colin was like, "Oh, just show up and be angry. That's it."
Yeah, but then he went off and did his own thing. He had to start doing all his own stuff.
Exactly. You know? Then he decided to start learning.
So when you launch Derek's Last Stand, then you're going to have to learn how to do this for yourself.
Hey, look, I already learned how to wash my own clothes this year. You're not getting much more out of me.
How's that going, by the way? How's the
that washer and dryer? That thing is tricky as heck. Tricky as heck. All them buttons and stuff.
I'm used to using a washboard down by the river.
I just use my abs to wash my clothes.
That's an image. Thank you for that one.
No problem.
All right, well, let's talk about the new, fresh, shiny release of this week. We're so excited that we're finally in a season where maybe not every week, but we've got 2 weeks in a row of a major release, and then here in a couple weeks, we'll have 2, 3, 4 weeks in a row of a major game releasing. So this is really exciting times. We're going to talk about Shadow of the Tomb Raider right out of the gate here. So let's just jump right in. We're both playing this on the Xbox One X.
Yep.
Thanks to Derek. I want to make sure everyone knows Derek bought this on the One X, and he's sharing it with me. What a guy. And
the sacrifices I make because I was definitely buying this on PC.
Right. Well, this is definitely Fathers of the Sacrifices. That's what the show is. Yeah. So let's just go right into it. I know you didn't get it on PC, but you still have it on the most powerful gaming console that exists. So tell me what you think about the visuals so far.
I'm actually pretty blown away. I think I talked about it last week with Spider-Man, and I actually moved my PS4 this week too from my big screen to my little 4K monitor. I gotta say, this 4K monitor kicks butt. Like, it even changes the PS4 Pro to make it look cleaner and crisper, because I started playing Spider-Man on it, and I was like, whoa, this looks better.
All right, so you've got a Samsung 4K TV, what, like a 55-inch or something like that?
I got the LG. I got an LG. So it's not as good as, I think yours is rated higher than mine on ratings.com or whatever.
Yeah, I've got the Samsung something or other, right? It's a real good 4K TV.
It's still a good like gaming TV. It's got good HDR, mine.
Yeah.
But
what's the difference for the? I'm just asking for the listener's sake. What do you mean when you say you got a monitor? You actually went to the store and bought or maybe online and bought a computer monitor that has a certain resolution. What's the difference for those who maybe aren't into PC gaming at all?
Yeah. So excuse me. When I got my powerful PC about a year and a half ago, I actually bought a 4K monitor.
Separately, right? You bought them separately.
Yeah, and it's not like a high-end one because like high-end 4K monitors are like $1,000 or whatever. So I'd say it's like mid-range. It doesn't have HDR, but I'll be honest with you. Again, I compare them all the time. I really don't care. Like I've played Assassin's Creed Origins on both this monitor, and I played majority of the time on the monitor, and I also played it on my big screen with HDR, and I thought it actually had better lighting on my monitor. But anyways, like you were saying, what's the difference? I think the big difference is because it's a smaller screen, it's actually crisper. It's very crisp. And that's what I was talking about with Spider-Man. That's how I know it's not in my head and I'm not just making it up. Like I literally unplugged it from playing for about an hour over there, then plugged it in over here, and I was like, huge difference because it just cleans everything up. It makes it very vibrant. It's very crisp. Again, it doesn't have HDR, but the lighting is great. And that was the same thing with Tomb Raider and every game I'm playing, like Destiny. I was playing Destiny over on my big screen, then I moved Destiny over here, and I was like, man. The other thing that I'm noticing a difference is the there is no delay at all. It's got a 1 millisecond delay, so it's real quick. It responds real fast. So
you think there's just some setting on the big screen that you could play around with, or is that about as good as it gets?
I've messed around with it. I just think the monitor is crisper, and I think it's better. I think it's because of the size of the screen. The bigger the screen you get, keep in mind though, I sit closer on my big screen than most people.
So you have to move your head a little bit.
Yeah, well, it's not just that. You can see more stuff. Like even when I was playing God of War, because I was sitting so close, I could see, like, this is probably why people are like, Derek nitpicks a lot. Because I'm so close, I can see when a game is not really 4K, you can see the, what's it called? The grid thing they use. It's the fake 4K bullcrap. Like they up-res it, and you can see where they're like, it's not
like the progressive scanning or whatever.
Yeah, I forgot what it's called, but it literally looks like a grid because it's not completely filled in.
So I like to think now, this is interesting. I'm imagining that all you did was turn your brightness down by accident on your big TV, and that's why you think everything looks worse is because it's just really dim. That's what I'm picturing right now, is that your TV is actually just fine, but you turn the brightness way down, and you're like, oh, it's just hard to see everything. Just can't figure it out. HDR's on. I just can't figure it out.
I'm so confused. No, but I think the big screen looks good, but I think right now with me switching everything over to this 4K monitor, I'm noticing difference. And to get on topic with Shadow of Tomb Raider, it's amazing looking on the Xbox One X. I imagine if I had it on the PS4 Pro, I'd be praising it for that too. Definitely on PC, because I don't know. I did watch a video. PS4 Pro is lower than the Xbox One X when it comes to resolution. And
for this game, right?
Yeah, and Xbox One X is not native 4K. I was kind of hoping it would be native 4K because Rise of the Tomb Raider, I believe, when it got patched, became native 4K. They didn't do it on this one because it's bigger areas and there's more going on with the game.
Right. There's a lot more detail.
Yeah, so they couldn't do native 4K, but it really does look really good.
Yeah, it does.
Some of the character models are kind of lame, but everything else, I mean, seriously, walking through the jungle, it's just amazing looking. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I just like jungle settings. I've always liked forest and jungle settings, and I like fall type video games. I like games that are set in the fall. So I like the green, lush type look for a lot of the games. That's why when I first started playing Dragon Age Inquisition, the first opening area is like the perfect area for me. That's where I love to explore in games. I like that type of setting, and that's kind of what you get with Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Once you start getting into the game, you're in a jungle, you're in a green area, a lot of mud, a lot of dirt, and a lot of water too. So I thought visually, they did an amazing job, especially since, like we just said, this isn't open world, but they have definitely opened it up a little bit more. They want you to explore. So for them to stay pretty much close, if not a little bit better visually than Rise of the Tomb Raider. Actually, I know they upgraded it over Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Right.
The only thing they weren't able to hit was, like I said, native 4K. But other than that, they've actually upgraded the visuals and made the game bigger, and there's a lot more things going on. So far, I'm really impressed visually.
Yeah, I think it looks really good. I think at times the way the character models look is fine. I would say more often than not, it's a little bit. It just reminds me of kind of older video games again when it does certain dialogue moments. That's not a super big knock on it, but I guess because the environment in this one reminds me so much of Uncharted, specifically 4, I think I'm getting a lot of Uncharted 4 vibes. And I mean that as a major compliment because I still think Uncharted 4 is one of the best looking games I've ever seen. And so I think this one is on par with that, probably technically better. I'm not saying it's, whatever. Yeah. I'm sure technically if you had all the stats and the specs and the numbers, it's probably a better game. It's 2 years newer, right? Uncharted 4 is 2 years old now.
The only thing I would argue with you on is the character models. I think
character models of Uncharted 4 looks better. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I think Nathan Drake and all the characters, even like the side characters, are more detailed and done better. But yeah, come on, carry on.
No, I that's exactly it. It's the character models that were Uncharted 4 totally trumps it. But the environment reminds me a lot
of Uncharted. He said
4.
Trump.
Yeah, it trumps it. Trump.
I know you know what? If people are watching on YouTube, go ahead, Tim. Keep talking.
Oh, don't do that. Don't do the. And by the way, since when was that the white power symbol? I mean, that's not a thing. All right. Anyway,
for those who are not watching the show, I'm doing the white power.
It means okay, or it's the game where you want someone to look at the hole you're making and then you get to punch them. It's that game. What's one or the other, right? So,
like, I know you got to know there's minorities listening to the show and they hear a white guy say it trumps it, and then I immediately do white power.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just triggering events.
Wait a minute. Did you just assume that I'm white? Because I am definitely not white.
You are definitely white. You can't even fake your whiteness.
Look at the bright lights shining on me. I'm glowing with how white I am right now.
They call me white. They call me white chocolate at work. So
yeah, you can hear it in my voice how white I am. All right, so I do think this is an absolutely gorgeous game, though it looks really great. I love some of the new mechanics that also include visuals, such as covering yourself in mud and hiding against the wall, behind the vines. That looks really cool. Kind of gives me an old school Commando or Predator vibe, one of those old Arnold movies, where he's always going under, in camouflage or whatever. So I like it a lot visually. I think it looks great. The environment, you mentioned how it's not really open world, of course. They would never claim that it is open world. It is open area, and you can travel back via the campsites to explore areas you've already been to. But to me, this is not. Maybe it is bigger, and I'm just missing it. To me, it seems so far. I think I'm 25% of the way through.
Mm-hmm.
It seems so far about the same area sizes as Rise of the Tomb Raider, but I could be wrong on that. But it seems about the same size. That's not a bad thing.
I'm not as far as you because I'm still playing Spider-Man, Dragon Quest, Rocket League, everything. I'm Destiny too, but I don't know. I don't know my percentage, but I haven't gotten into too many big areas. In fact, there's one area in Rise where it really opens up. I haven't hit anything like that yet.
Neither have I. Now,
I don't know.
There's some places you can double back. I've seen a couple areas where the path branches to the side and you can go explore and now I found a treasure and then you go back. Or I found 2 challenge tombs. You can go in there and you can
2 or 3 challenge tombs, but I haven't been able to do anything because they won't let me.
So you can do some challenge tombs and that's good. There are some great set pieces. I think this is minor spoilers. I guess skip ahead a couple minutes if you don't want to hear anything about the set pieces from the beginning of the game. There's an amazing set piece involving a massive wave in this village at the beginning, toward the beginning of the game. That's a really cool set piece. I think that was right up there with the best that the Uncharted and Tomb Raider series have provided so far. I think it was fantastic, and there's been a few of those already. that I've got to experience. So overall, the visuals are great. The environments, I think, are pretty solid. Not expecting an open world game, but they do give you some freedom to roam around within good sized areas. Same thing with puzzles. You know, there's lots of levers to pull and water to fill into these giant bowls that then lower this bridge or whatever. You know, all that kind of stuff that you expect from again, Uncharted / Tomb Raider.
I wanted to talk about that. Like, I wanted to compliment this game. I know some people might, the hardcore gamers might be like, this is so stupid. They're making games so DFC. But in the beginning of the game, when you first log in, you have the option of almost every game has a difficulty setting. So you could say, oh, I want my experience to be easy, normal, hard, really hard. This one has 3 different settings. Well, it has the easy, normal, hard setting for 3 different things. You can adjust the combat, you can adjust the puzzles.
That's right.
And there's something else, I don't remember it. I'm like Kyle Neely. I don't give 2 craps about being challenged on puzzles. Not when I play these games. In fact, I find them annoying. So I put puzzles on easy without even trying it, because I was like, that might make this more enjoyable for me. And with me not having much patience this year with video games, that's one of the biggest problems I had with God of War. I was like, oh my gosh, I have to get to this treasure and I don't know how to do it. And I'm just sitting here and I'm like, I'm mad, and I quit. So I did actually turn the puzzle thing down to easy. And
that is a good point. That's a good call out. That's an interesting new addition that you don't see a lot with games. So
First time I've seen it.
They've got on easy. It's got all 3 settings down to easy. But if you set it on easy and then change one of them, I'm assuming it becomes a custom difficulty setting, right? And so you can do that for any of those. Easy, medium, hard. Maybe you're really great at the combat, but the puzzles you just think are a waste of time, like Derek was saying. And so maybe you leave combat on medium or even hard if you want to, but you turn on the puzzles. That's kind of cool. You can tailor. And I wonder if they see success with that, if they notice that players use that a lot. I wonder if they and other developers will start to incorporate a more in-depth version of that, right, into their games. I really do.
I think this is a really cool thing. I've never seen a game do it where they've said, hey, puzzles can be easy, combat can be hard. And then I forgot what the third one. There was a third one that you could adjust.
Yeah, there were 3. I just can't remember that third one either.
I guess I just didn't care about it.
Yeah, it could have been something to do with the quick time events or the traversal of some kind, because there's some hazardous stuff with the traps and the environment. Maybe it was environment. I can't remember.
Yeah, it could have been that.
But anyway, I think overall the environment puzzle design is pretty solid so far, but it's kind of what I expect. Good call on mentioning God of War. I actually think it's up to par with, because I thought God of War's puzzles, I know you don't like them, but I thought they were very well done using the environment. And I think Uncharted's for the most part are well done. Rise of the Tomb Raider were really well done. It's right up there with those. So you have that to look forward to, and you can set it to easy if you want. But let's talk about the combat real quick. So this is something that I don't think that the Tomb Raider games have ever said this is going to be some incredibly in-depth, intricate combat system where you're facing down a whole bunch of characters, a la Spider-Man or Batman or God of War, and you're executing all these combos. It's not meant to be that. But what do you think about the combat system they do have, where you have some melee, you've got a lot of stealth options, and you've got, of course, you got guns and bows and arrows. Have you gotten far enough to really say that you know what the combat feels like?
I've done combat, but I just actually got past the part where they were definitely introducing stealth, because at one point they have you leaning against this wall and you have mud all over you. And I decided to do something, and they were like, no, you're going to die because we want you to do stealth here. And so I was like, oh, they want me to follow this beaten path. But it was because they were basically saying, hey, for this portion, we want to teach you stealth.
Well, and on the other hand, before that big wave moment, there's a moment with an slightly open area where I wanted to stealth, but they shine a spotlight on you and guys drop down and open fire, and you have to engage in battle. So they kind of force both players. You know me, I'm more of a take it slow and stealthy. You're more of a run and gun type gamer. They make us both try it both ways. So
yeah, I can appreciate and I appreciate it too, because I was like, okay, they're teaching me the system, and they're doing it in a non-tutorial way. They're just making it part of the game. So I thought that was pretty cool. I think so far the combats. Here's the thing. This is why I prefer the Tomb Raider games over Uncharted, and I am a big Uncharted fan. I love the original. I love the second one. Actually, when I replayed the third one, ended up liking it way more than I originally did. 4 is the only one I'm kind of negative on because I'm like, I expected more from it. But the reason I like the Tomb Raider games more than Uncharted is I like the combat more, and I like, and we're going to talk about it in a second, I like the fact that you can upgrade your weapons and Lara throughout the experience. So it's got a little bit of an RPG element, which I think I talked about last week on the show that I liked about Spider-Man. I like when games have that. I like when they say, hey, here's your character, but you can make them better. And so I like that you have that with the Tomb Raider games.
Yeah, it has upgrades and RPG elements that Uncharted can't even touch. But I think pretty much every other area, I tend to prefer Uncharted. I have so much fun playing the Uncharted games, even in their serious moments. And with Tomb Raider, I think it has to do with the lead character. Now, don't get me wrong. As a red-blooded American male, I find her to be attractive compared to Nathan Drake for sure. Okay?
Yeah, she's pretty.
But she is not an interesting character. I think there's interesting dilemmas she faces, but she is as serious as a heart attack all the time. And I'm like, she can't be older than, she's definitely not older than 30. She's got to be in her 20s. And
who's
she's
her
got
sidekick, dude? What's his name?
Jonah. I like Jonah. He's interesting.
Yeah, see, if I was Jonah, and maybe he's just an insecure fat guy, but if I was Jonah, I'd be like, look, I'm done with you, biatch. Like, you are freaking psycho. Like, she's borderline psycho.
She is, because the big thing that happens at the beginning, he's like, we have to help people. And she's like, we have to go stop the bad guys. He's like, idiot, we have to help people. So there's those little moments where, and then even on the airplane ride afterwards, where he's just devastated by what they just saw, and she's just thinking about how to solve the riddle. It makes me like her character a little less, and I realize, like, she's got no chill. Like, she's got no... That's one thing that's missing, and maybe it occurs from time to time in the games, and I'm just forgetting about it. But I feel like there's no levity and humanness to her character. The only thing that makes her human is how much she suffers, and that's going to sound kind of morbid, but that's the way it is.
Well, I was going to say something, and maybe they did it in the other games, and I just don't remember, even though I just did play Rise of the Tomb Raider. One of the things, I know you were saying it makes her not seem human. It's crazy because as she was on the plane with Jonah and he's talking, they cut away where he's not looking at her anymore. And they show just her. And I actually thought this is them doing a good job of showing her human side, meaning this reminds me of my wife. Like, she's sitting there and you can see it in her eyes. She wants to say something to Jonah to show that she cares about what he's saying. She cares about him, that she cares about outside of the mission. But because of her personality and who she is, she can't do it. So her way of dealing with it is to ignore the feelings. This is why it reminds me of my wife. Ignore the feelings and focus on the traumatic thing that she's trying to get done.
That's a good call. I did like that scene. They did some interesting stuff with that.
They did that a few times, because there was other times where Jonah would say something and it would cut to her and he wasn't paying attention to her, and she would give this face like, I want to tell you how I feel, but I can't tell you how I feel. So she's one of those women that has gone through something traumatic, and she does not know how to deal with her feelings. So that's why for some people playing her, they're like, this isn't a typical woman. Women let us know their emotions. She's not a normal woman.
No, she's definitely not. And take that criticism I just said with a grain of salt, those of you who are listening. I do not want a quippy Nathan Fillion style. From I'm not asking for that style of character.
I got what you were saying,
Drake. I feel like I want to enjoy her character more, but instead it's mostly serious most of the time. That's the tone they're going for. They nail it. It's fine. That's just me personally. I tend to enjoy moments where they at least add some. It doesn't have to make me laugh, but make me go like, yep, she's got a moment of being a human there.
I mean, I didn't write her character, so I'm not saying I'm nailing it. But
no, I think you're onto something. And they do. There's two moments later. Again, minor spoilers for little side moments in the early moments of the game. There's a moment when they're sitting down in a bar, she and Jonah, and they're talking with an NPC character that is going to help you potentially. And clearly, Jonah and this NPC character have kind of looked at each other like, hey, you got something going on that I'm interested in, right? There's a little bit of a connection there.
I was looking at the NPC character going, I wish I was Jonah. Just letting you know.
And Laura kind of notices this and goes, hey, I'm going to go check things out for a little while. And she kind of has a sly smile, like, I can tell that Jonah and this girl are into each other. So there's that little moment that I liked that shows that, kind of kind of felt like a little bit of a movie scene. And then there's a side mission. So this isn't really a spoiler for the main game at all. There's a side mission where you are helping this dad get his son away from these bad guys. And of course, the son is running for his life and finds her, and she tells him where to go and run away. And he stops and gives her this long hug. And it's actually like, it's a really sweet moment where this kid is giving her a hug, thanking her for saving him. And I'm like, oh, okay. All right. So she's not just worried about getting to the treasure before this Trinity group. She actually does have a heart. So to contradict myself a little bit, I've noticed a few little human type moments. Mm-hmm. I just find that the game isn't very lighthearted, which is, again, totally fine. But after a while, I think that's what helps me keep plugging away with Uncharted. And I overlook the overly long climbing sections and things like that, especially for Uncharted 4, because they're talking the whole time and it's funny and there's background and there's dialogue, and I really dig that. So that's just for me personally. And I think for Tomb Raider, there's so many quiet, serious moments that after a while I'm like, I gotta go play something else. Now, keep in mind, I just came off of Spider-Man. Just finished that game. I'll talk about that in a little bit. That game is full of fun, quippy, just really clever, great writing, and a very human lead character. So that might be coloring my opinion of Lara a little bit. It might be unfairly coloring my thought of, man, she's just so serious all the time.
No, I think that is who she is. I mean,
You're right.
But I think that's how they, and I was saying earlier, I'm not saying I didn't write the character. I'm not saying I fully understand it. But as somebody who's married to somebody very similar to that, that's how I saw it. Like, I was watching that scene going, that's Megan. That's how she operates. Like, she has feelings. She actually has a lot of feelings, but she won't say them. And that's what I was reading from Lara. I was like, oh, that's how they're writing her, that she feels safer to not say things than to say things.
And the way she copes is to try to solve the problem.
Exactly.
That's
deal with one issue at a time. She can't handle more than one issue.
That's a really great point. So I do like their interaction.
See, what did we all learn from this? Derek understands women. Tim does not.
Well, you're married to Laura. Congratulations. But I do love the Jonah and Laura interplay this time. I didn't really care about him previously that much.
No. He was just like the guy that would get trapped and you would go save him. He wasn't anything else.
He feels important this time around. And
so they're really trying to add him.
Of course, as someone who is starting to like his character, and I'm fairly early in the story, I have a bad feeling that something might happen to him later. I hope not. Who knows? I just I like their interplay so far and the way that they've used his character a bit. So I like that. And overall, the story is exactly what I expect from a Tomb Raider game. You're going after something really important to stop something really bad, and there's a bad organization who also wants it, but their motivations are a little bit mixed. Maybe they want to stop something bad too. Maybe they just want control. It's that whole classic storyline. Nothing wrong with it whatsoever. I've had one run-in with the main villain. He actually seems kind of interesting because he's a bit of a folk hero in this little village, and seems surprisingly calm. So anyway, I'm hoping for some good villain interactions as this game moves ahead as well. So overall, story and characters, pretty solid, just fine. Again, I think comparing it to Uncharted isn't really fair because I think those games are way better in this category. But this is fine. It's doing just fine to keep me interested. The real strength of the game is when you sit down at the campfire and you've got a wide selection of skills to upgrade and weapons to upgrade, all kinds of stuff to improve, and I love that. And you can wander the environment and collect stuff. You could go hunting for animals and get the stuff that you need to craft better gear, and I still really like that a lot too. So.
Yeah, I agree with the Uncharted and Tomb Raider and Uncharted always get compared. I think Uncharted is
for good reason. They're so similar.
Yeah, they have the better characters. They generally have the better story. It's not like their stories are overly complicated or anything. It's just the way the characters are used in their stories make them more fun. It makes it feel like you're playing an Indiana Jones type game, whereas the Tomb Raider games, even though they have similarities to Indiana Jones, they're not as lighthearted. They're more serious. And this is kind of what you were talking about. Going back to the lead character kind of sets the tone for it. But to me, the upgrades, the RPG, the gunplay, the combat, everything else, for me, is superior. And I actually enjoy, because we play games, I enjoy playing the Tomb Raider games more than I enjoy playing.
Gunplay is pretty similar. Stealth is way better. The stealth things they put in there, the bow and arrow, and the ability to just sneak around and do some really cool stuff.
By
is
the
way
way,
better. Yeah.
Destiny 2's Forsaken has bow and arrows, which is pretty freaking cool.
Ooh, we got to talk about that here at the end too when we talk about what we're playing.
Yeah.
One more quick hit on this one before we move on. Based on what you've played so far, are you feeling pretty good about this making your top 10 of 2018?
Oh, easily. Yeah, it's definitely gonna make it. Unless the story goes
somewhere.
full Riri, it's gonna make it.
Look at you editing yourself. What a guy.
I have to. You get mad. I was gonna say the F word earlier and I didn't.
Yeah, because then I send you mad emojis, and when Sasan does that, it turns you on. When I do that, it makes you sad. I get it. Yes, of course, this has a not only a shot, it's pretty much a lock for the top 10. It's so good. The quality of this game is so high. I just want to keep playing it. The interactions with wildlife have already been really intense and really cool. So
oh yeah, man. I know we don't want to spoil things, but I think it's a leopard that you go against.
It's a jaguar.
Jaguar.
Yeah.
Amazing. Awesome.
Yeah. Very cool scene, very cinematic, and just so cool. And I fully expect more scenes like that with wildlife and with soldiers and all that stuff. Should be a lot of fun. Absolutely fantastic game. If you like Tomb Raider from 2013, the reboot, and Rise of the Tomb Raider, getting this game is a no-brainer. It's bigger and better and prettier version of both of those. So,
which is what surprises me that it didn't review bad. Let me first of all state the Metacritic last time I checked was in the low 80s, which is still really good. I'm shocked by how many reviewers were under 7s and stuff like that.
The most surprising one to me was GameSpot, because I feel like in recent months, maybe even the last couple of years. Sorry for the background car noise. Got my window open here. In recent years, I felt like GameSpot has been very fair and very accurate with their scores for the most part. But they gave it a 6.
Yeah.
So, again, maybe I'm missing something. It could be one of those cases of the reviewer saying this is the same as we've already played and there's too many similarities, not enough improvements, maybe. But can you objectively look at this game from top to bottom and say it's a 6 out of 10 and that subtitle or whatever, the description is fair? So it's not great or even good. It's called fair. I don't know. I feel like I didn't read it, so I need to read it and see what it is they're saying about it. And I also need to play it, the rest of it for myself to see what I think. But that feels a little bit harsh, but who knows? Maybe I'm missing something that they know that I don't.
Yeah, I don't know who Edmund Train is.
Yeah.
That's the person, I guess, who reviewed it. So
yeah,
I have no idea.
So, anyway, yeah, I'm with you. I thought it would review a little bit higher as well. I think Rise of the Tomb Raider was in the 90s, wasn't it? So
probably,
or at least high 80s, whatever.
No, they're saying all right. Just real quick, not to.
No, I'm curious. Go ahead.
It says, I'm just going to read the bad. Stealth feels inconsistent and unsophisticated. Combat mechanics feel clumsy and unsuited to most encounters. That doesn't make sense because it plays just like the previous one. So maybe they didn't like the previous one. Again, I've never seen this person who's reviewed it before.
Yeah.
Platforming can be frustratingly imprecise. Now, that I've always ran into with the Tomb. Not that it's really frustrating, but there'll be times.
It's a little floaty.
Yeah,
right?
There'll be times in Tomb Raider where you think you're jumping one way, but the game has you jump another way.
And Uncharted does that too, and Assassin's Creed does that. All the major AAA action adventure RPG games do that. So
yeah, so I mean, I didn't read the entire review. I just read the headlines for the good and the bad, and the bad just seems the first two just seem stupid. Like it's part of.
Sounds like this person had a frustrating time with the combat, whereas.
Maybe they needed to put it on easy.
Maybe they do. I found the combat so far to be a lot of fun. Not perfect, but just as fun as previous games. But interesting. Yeah. All right, so there you go. Shadow of the Tomb Raider. If you're a fan of the series, especially the recent installments, this is a no-brainer. They do have some interesting callbacks, by the way, to the old games. Thanks to the version of the game that Derek bought, I am now able to use some of the old skins of the old Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider 2 and Angel of Darkness. You can make Lara look exactly like that old character, polygonal and everything. It's pretty hilarious. Kind of cool that they did that. They gave you some throwback outfits.
Yeah, it's really cool that the outfits that you can wear in the game also have bonuses. Like I'm wearing this crazy Amazon-y type outfit, and it has a bonus where I heal faster or something like that. So I was
you get more stuff from animals, I think, like more materials.
So that's the one I'm using. Even though it's not the one I would actually choose, I'm like, well, the bonuses are worth it.
Yeah, after one of your major encounters, actually it's after your second major encounter with a wildlife quote unquote boss, she actually makes herself an outfit from their hide or whatever, and that makes you really stealthy and stuff like that. So I'm wearing that right now. So again, I love the RPG, and I would call it lightweight crafting stuff from this game.
Yeah,
very much like Horizon and stuff like that. It's very fun. It's great.
It's a good game.
All right, let's move on to some news before we talk about stuff that we are playing. For Sony news, we know that Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles is coming in 2019 to a variety of platforms. Definitely PS4 and Nintendo Switch are confirmed. Probably some others, but those are the two that are confirmed. I never got into this series, but I know it was really popular. I think it was a Wii game.
I had the GameCube.
Maybe it was GameCube first.
I think it was GameCube was Crystal Chronicles. I bought it with my cousin. We played it for like 2 seconds.
Yeah, kind of a very cartoony but fun multiplayer action RPG. Whatever. It's very charming. So that's coming out pretty soon. But more interesting to me, I just finished Spider-Man, and Insomniac recently tweeted out that New Game Plus is in the works in an upcoming update. Who knows how long it'll be? Maybe it'll take a few months like God of War did, but New Game Plus is in the works for Spider-Man.
I think it's cool. That's one of my favorite things. Like, I just love when games have New Game Plus. So.
It's just a smart thing to do. It gives you incentive to go back and say, hey, you know what? I didn't finish everything the first time, but I don't want to start over and blah, blah, blah. I don't want to pick up where I left off. Oh, but I can keep all my stuff and my skills and start over. Let's do that. That's just much more appealing to most gamers. So that's good news for Spider-Man fans. Let's talk about Nintendo, though. Nintendo has a whole bunch of news. They had their Nintendo Direct that was rescheduled after the earthquake on September 5th, I think it was, or 6th. And so the Direct aired on the 13th, this past Thursday. They had a couple pieces of 3DS news. You and I have talked about this a lot, so it's not worth repeating too much. I still don't know why they're supporting the 3DS this much. They must have sales still happening, so whatever. Yeah. It's got to be business at this point. Kirby's Epic Yarn is moving over from, I think it was a Wii game back in the day, and they're adding additional content to that. So you can get Kirby's Epic Yarn on the 3DS sometime in 2019. And then on January 11th, 2019, you'll be able to get Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story and Bowser Jr.'s Journey, which actually looks pretty fun and clever for the 3DS as well. The Bowser Jr.'s Journey, the idea there is it's kind of a fast-paced strategy thing where Bowser Jr. commands all his little troops, and you can recruit and upgrade your troops. Dang, some cars are just really loud. So anyway, that one looks kind of charming and fun, but again, since it's not Switch, I probably won't give it a shot. But if you've got a 3DS, or if your kids like those games, that one sounds pretty good. They are re-releasing Luigi's Mansion, the GameCube version, on October 12th, which is my birthday. So happy birthday to me for something I probably won't buy. That's coming out on 3DS. And then some Yokai Watch. In my notes, I just put Yokai Watch garbage. I'm not sure what it is. Yokai Watch something on 3DS. So those were your 3DS pieces of news, about as Nintendo as a set of announcements can get right there.
Yep, don't care.
You know what? I'm going to go through quickly. Derek, just interrupt me if you've got an opinion or thought on something. I don't want to spend, just like last time, I want to move through this kind of quickly so we're not just reading the news. But if you've got a reaction, interrupt me and let's talk about it. But I thought this overall Nintendo Direct was fine. If you're a major Nintendo IP fan, especially, you were probably pretty excited. But I think because of the momentum that the Switch has built over the last, I guess it's been a year and a half that it's been out, it's just been incredible where I feel like every Direct has some kind of mic drop moment. This one had some interesting stuff, but no real mic drop for me personally. So some cool stuff, but nothing that made me go, wow, they're killing it. It was more like, oh, okay, they've got a lot of stuff coming out and some things in 2019 that look promising. But anyway, let's move right into it. Luigi's Mansion 3, which is their working title, has been announced for the Switch for 2019. Derek, don't know if you played those, but those are very charming games, very fun puzzle.
They're fun, yeah.
Adventures, yeah, they're good. And they give Luigi a ton of personality in those. I like those games. Splatoon 2 update version 4 should be coming out soon if it hasn't already. Mega Man 11 comes out on October 2nd. Mario Tennis Aces update. They're adding Birdo, Shy Guy, and Koopa Paratroopa and PD Piranha. That's on September 19th. which I still never bought that tennis game. As soon as it goes on a deep sale, though, I'm going to totally get it. But I never did buy Mario Tennis Aces.
Yeah.
But that update, and I think a few modes come out on the 19th. This one sounds interesting if you're an old school arcade fan. Capcom's Beat 'em Up bundle comes out on September 18th with full online multiplayer and includes a number of games, including Final Fight, King of Dragons, Captain Commando, Night of the Round, and a few others. So if you're into old school arcade beat 'em up games, I like that they're doing online multiplayer. That's good. Here's one that I'm actually excited about. As someone who skipped the Wii U, I can finally play new Mario Bros, new Mario, and new Luigi U on the Switch on January 11th. So I'll be able to play New Mario Brothers U and Luigi U on January 11th. And I think they're adding a few things in there too for the Switch version. So I'm excited for that. Again, as a complete Wii U skipper, it'll be nice to have a side-scrolling Mario game on my Switch. Katamari Damacy Reroll is coming out sometime this winter. Probably not just for Switch, but it's coming to Switch. I never thought Katamari Damacy was that good. I played it on the PS2 back in the day. I know it got a lot of critical acclaim. I thought it was boring and ugly, so I never liked it.
Pretty much.
Okay, give me your quick thoughts on Nintendo Switch Online. They highlighted a few key components. They said that it's going to come with, I think, 4 or 5 things. Online play, NES games, save data cloud, a smartphone app, and special offers. What did you think about the Nintendo Switch Online stuff, the way they communicated it, and all that?
I actually didn't watch it. I don't know anything about it. I just saw Dan Phillips post about it, and then I made the joke it will shut down on September 19th. But
launches September 18th. Oh, and by the way, you can get a family pass. So if you want a full year for two up to 7 people, you can get, I think, if I read this correctly, you can get 1 account for $20, covers you for the whole year. You can get 2 accounts or more, up to 7 total, for I think $35. So you can save a bunch of money if you're doing a family bundle. I believe I might have misread that, but you can save money for sure somehow by doing multiple accounts at once. Online play, of course, that's just a given. The NES games thing is interesting. This might be the direction they go with Virtual Console, with that no longer being a thing. I could see them adding in Super Nintendo in the near future as well. The thing is, they've made these free, so whatever library they put out there is going to be free for everyone who's got Switch Online, and it's got online multiplayer added in for these games. So while the NES isn't my jam, it's not my thing, I don't really care that much about NES, the potential for saying, here's a collection of classic games that now have online play, that's pretty cool. Like if I could get online and play Secret of Mana on Super Nintendo with a buddy, that'd be cool. So if they end up adding that, great. Otherwise, I don't care that much about it. It's just a nice perk, I suppose. Save data cloud is interesting, although I have heard there's some issues with certain games, but it's just a no-brainer to be able to save your back up your data in some kind of cloud. Smartphone app has been out for a while, so maybe they'll update it and it'll be much better because it's not really been worth anyone's time as of yet. Yeah. And then special offers, it's good to know that you'll be getting special sales just like PS Plus and Gold members get with Xbox. So yeah,
it'll probably be an additional 10% off or something like that.
They did announce NES-style controllers. They're wireless, and they are legitimately NES controllers, that rectangle shape with the 2 buttons and the D-pad and all that stuff. But disappointingly, for those of you who love that and we're looking forward to playing indie games with that, you can't. It only works with NES games, as far as I know, unless they update that. So there you go. There's your Switch Online update. Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee gameplay was shown. They showed a few more things you can do there. Here's one I'm interested in, because I have bought this on one other console, but I didn't play it for very long. Diablo 3, The Eternal Collection comes out November 2nd for Switch. I might, if I'm in the right mood to do a whole lot of looting and leveling up, I could see myself grabbing this on impulse.
Yeah.
Maybe.
You'll probably buy it when it's like super cheap.
Yeah, possibly.
That's the only thing I hate about Nintendo, though, is even a game like... Well, it's not just that. Like, even a game like Diablo 3, you'll go, oh, I'll pick it up when it's on sale. A sale for them is like 3 months later, it's $10 off. Like, it's never going to be... You're never going to get Diablo 3 on the Switch for $10. You're just never
for that. Yeah, it won't be a Steam sale. It won't even be as good as a lot of the PlayStation Flash sales. But
yeah, PlayStation, Xbox... After a game's been out for a year, a lot of times you can find that game that was originally $60. You can get it for $5 to
like Assassin's Creed Origins, I think you've been able to get for $15 or something a couple times. So
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying. That is very true. But they do a better job than they used to. If you go in the eShop and go into their great deals section, a lot of it's just garbage that was $5 before. That's $1 now. Who cares? But some of it is larger games. Everything from Mario plus Rabbids to the NBA 2K franchise, and a few others have gotten, even Legend of Zelda and Mario Kart and stuff like that. They've gotten up to 20-30% off at times. So it's better than it was before, but they're still not quite there. They're still not quite at the point where they're listing it at a price that you can't say no to. It's still not quite there yet, but
Yeah.
hopefully it's coming. They showed a little bit more from Super Mario Party, more modes and things like that, and some things you can do with that. It looks creative, but I'm not really interested. Here's one from Game Freak, guys who've done some Pokemon's work. They've got an anime-style RPG coming out called Town. That's the working title for this. The entire story takes place in this village that's being besieged by monsters, and it looks like a very charming looking thing, a little Dragon Quest-esque. So we'll see what that one shapes up to be in 2019. City Skylines, the Switch edition, was announced. It includes the content packs that came out earlier, was available that day. So it's out now. If you're into city building, you can go grab City Skylines on the Switch now. Daemon X Machina. This one looks interesting to me. It's a third-person action shooter with mechs. You can also jump out of your mech and explore the world that way and do some combat that way. But primarily, you're flying around in your mech Transformer style and battling gigantic bosses. It has RPG upgrade mechanics. They showed very quick glimpses of the screen where you're upgrading your gear, you're leveling up, things like that. And they did say they're going to be co-op modes where you can get online, play with friends, and take down gigantic bosses together. So Daemon X Machina looks kind of interesting. I think it looks cool. It looks stylish. Doesn't look super realistic, of course, but it's got a stylish art design to it. So speaking of visuals, I think Yoshi's Crafted World looks beautiful. So the new Yoshi game that's coming to Switch, it also includes a lot of flip mechanics. So if you think about that Wii Paper Mario game where you could flip the whole world sideways or all the way around, or even like a smaller game like Fez where you could rotate the world, Yoshi's Crafted World has that capability where you can flip the world around. It looks very creative and very, very pretty. So a really good looking game coming out in spring of next year. If you're into board games, Asmodee Digital Games announced stuff like Carcassonne, the Lord of the Rings card game, Pandemic, Catan, Munchkin, a whole bunch of other stuff that they're delivering to the Switch, I think starting this holiday. Okay, finally to another one that I actually care about. I'm kind of interested in this. Civilization 6, the full version, coming to Switch on November 18th. Is that 18th? No, 16th. And it will include local and online multiplayer. Civ 6 is coming. That's a pretty big deal that's coming to Switch.
Not a big deal to me.
Not a big deal to Derek.
You've not excited me about anything yet.
Yeah, no, I'm putting you to sleep, but it is also late there. So this is actually pretty fun. Like, how can I make this just interesting enough to keep you from falling into a deep sleep? But how do I keep making you yawn into the microphone? That's my challenge here. Starlink, they showed a little bit more gameplay coming October 16th. I'm still excited about that one. The World Ends With You has a official release date of October 12th. So go check that one out if that's something you've been interested in. Warframe, which still has a lot of online players, drops on November 20th. Just Dance on October 23rd. FIFA 19, September 28th. Team Sonic Racing comes out this winter. NBA 2K19 and Playgrounds 2, of course, they showed that. Lego DC Super Villains on October 16th. And then we get to something that might interest Derek. We'll find out. Square is going full on with Switch. So although they did not announce, hey, we're going to put out the full version of the real Final Fantasy 15, because the Switch, of course, couldn't really handle that, I don't think. They did make the Pocket Edition of 15 available that day, so that's out now on Switch. Mm-hmm. Sometime in 2019, of course, the Crystal Chronicles Remastered Edition will be on Switch. World of Final Fantasy Maxima Edition comes out on November 6th. That's a much-loved game that came to the Vita and I think PS4 last year. And so that's coming to Switch on November 6th. Chocobo Mystery Dungeon is getting another game. I can't tell if it's a remaster or not. That comes out in the winter. My friends loved that game back in the day, so we'll see if that one still holds up as a fun kind of strategy RPG. And then they released a whole bunch of classic Final Fantasy games coming to Switch throughout 2019. Final Fantasy XII, The Zodiac Age, the remastered version, is coming to Switch in 2019. along with Final Fantasy 7, 9, 10, and 10-2, all coming in 2019 to the Switch. So other than 8, so aka the emo Final Fantasy, a bunch of Final Fantasy games are going to be dropping on Switch. So I'm probably going to... How many times have I bought some of those games? This will probably be like the 4th or 5th time I've bought something like 9, for example.
Yeah.
But I'm excited for some of those to show up. I might get X and X2. I never bought that remastered X and X2. I could get that. And then a bunch of Smash Brothers stuff, some Animal Crossing characters. A new console bundle was announced, and then they did announce that Animal Crossing is coming to Switch in 2019. So now that we've gotten through all the announcements, you can get an idea of why, if you're a major Nintendo IP fan, you were probably just hyped to heavens for this Direct. For someone like myself, I kind of thought it was mediocre. And then for someone like Derek, and this is in all honesty, I'm not even trying to bust his balls on this one, not interested at all. I mean, there's a few little things that, show me when it's out, but otherwise I just don't care. And I think this is just not their strongest Direct for casual / non-Nintendo fans. Whereas other recent Directs have been home runs for them. So there you go. We've made it through. We're on the other side. Derek, what are you dreaming about right now?
Thinking about Sasan.
Always thinking about Sasan. All right, so this is something that I need to go check out. The Call of Duty Black Ops 4 Blackout Battle Royale mode, the beta, is live on Xbox One and PC. I keep hearing really good things about this. People saying, listen, everything I hated about Fortnite, there's a few things I love about Fortnite, but I hate how kiddie it is, and there's a lot of things I don't like about it. But this Blackout mode they got something real special. You know, I've seen several people in our group and in other groups and just online saying this is really good. So I need to go check out the Battle Royale beta if I can. I might need to find a code for it, but I want to go check that out.
It's not open yet? It's not.
How are people playing it then?
Well,
Maybe
I was asking if I know you had to have a code because it was.
Oh no, I think it is. I think it is open,
yet?
and it actually might be closed by the time you guys are listening to this. So I don't know all the details there, but I'm pretty sure it has been open this weekend.
Okay.
So,
but you're talking open to anybody who has a code. I was just wondering.
I think so. It's not an open beta.
Like Battlefield and all them, they have like a closed beta for like 2 days if you've pre-ordered the game, and then they open it up to everybody. I was wondering.
No, I think this was a closed. I think it was a closed beta.
Okay.
But either way, the bigger takeaway from this is that Battle Royale Call of Duty version is getting really good feedback from folks. So that's interesting. And then another piece of news for Microsoft, because that's, by the way, Xbox One and PC only for that beta, as far as I know. Forza Horizon 4, which comes out in just a few weeks. It's already gone gold, so that game is ready to ship. It's going to have a bunch of James Bond classic cars in it on day one, which will, of course, look beautiful in that game.
Yeah.
Here's something kind of interesting that I read this week. Assassin's Creed Odyssey, if you buy the season pass with that game, it will include the Assassin's Creed 3 remaster with it.
Yeah, I bought that game.
I liked that game a lot, so that's interesting. I'd love to see that one in kind of up-resed versions. So, in other general news, Derek plays video games again.
I do.
Every once in a while. Which is interesting. Speaking of which, let's close things out with what is Derek playing these days?
Forza Horizon 4 demo. I played that. I thought it looked amazing on the Xbox One X. I'll download it on the PC as well tonight, probably. But I'm pretty sure. I think it's going to look the same. I think they're both native. It might have ultra settings that I might get a little bit more detail out of. The big difference will be the frames per second. On the Xbox One X, it's 30 frames per second. On PC, it's whatever you can handle, which mine will be 60 frames. But point is, you always gawk at me like I'm saying.
I was trying
like,
not to react, but you just sounded about as Master Race as you've ever sounded. I was trying not to say anything because I know you're excited. I don't want to squash that. Okay.
It's the same thing like at work. I'll be talking serious like I am right now, and I'll say something like, and I know majority of women find me attractive because I'm really good looking, and I'll say something like that, and they'll gawk at me like, I'm like, what? Do you want me to be an insecure person and be like, I think girls like me? No, they do. No, never mind. But anyway, so Forza Horizon 4 demo was a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that game. I had actually planned to buy the $100 version, but I might just I don't know. I haven't decided. I might just play it free for a few days on my Game Pass because of all the games that are coming out. But I don't know. Maybe if I have the funds, because I'm going to trade some stuff in, I might get the $100 version because I really
I'll definitely give it a shot because I'm going to have it with Game Pass because it looks gorgeous. So
I know. I know you're not into racers, but
I'm not. But I liked Forza Horizon 2. I enjoyed that one.
That's what I'm saying. If there's one franchise that I think, and Dan Phillips is another one that says all the time, I don't like racers, but he plays Horizon games because they're, I don't know, there's just something about them. They're open world. You can just do whatever you want, and they're really smooth, beautiful, fun games. So I played that. I enjoyed it. I finished Destiny 2 Forsaken. I don't know. Maybe I'm just, because Destiny 2 came out last year around this time, maybe I just got in the mood for Destiny 2. But I absolutely loved my entire experience on the Xbox One X. I played from beginning to end. I played the campaign. I played the previous two DLC expansions, Osiris and Warminds, and then I finished Forsaken's main campaign. But obviously there's a ton of things to do after the main campaign. I do just want to say this. A lot of people, and I know Jesse White does this, they'll just be like, I won't play Destiny unless it's with people. I don't fully understand that. Whatever, to each their own. I don't understand that because to me, especially with Forsaken and even Destiny 2's campaign, they're like playing Halo games. They have their own campaign that you can experience solo. You don't need other players to play it, and you experience a good story. I just felt like Forsaken,
arguably what I've heard about Halo 5, because I still haven't played that campaign, arguably a better story, maybe even.
Oh, yeah, definitely better. I mean, I enjoyed Halo 5, and I even enjoyed the story, although it was a bit of a letdown. I enjoyed the ending, which is what a lot of people hated. But I feel like Forsaken and even Destiny 2's regular campaign, they're just really well done.
The main campaign of Destiny 2 was fun. I thought it was a great single-player campaign that also happens to be a blast with friends. It has some great endgame stuff. So,
and I'll tell you what they did without spoiling it in Forsaken that I really liked. In order to get to your final boss, you have to take out 8 mini bosses, and there are these adventure missions that you have to do to knock them out. And I just enjoyed it. I enjoyed going out, and some of the boss fights, one of them, I will talk about this one. I just thought it was well done. His name's Trickster, and he runs his mouth. He's a little trickster. And one of his little tricks is he'll drop all these ammo packets, but they're really bombs. So you go to run over these purple ammos and you're really just blowing up. But he can disappear, reappear, and it was just a fun boss fight. At first it was a little frustrating because I kept going, oh, purple ammo, I need that for my heavy weapon, and I'm blowing up. And then I'm trying to run away from his bomb, and then I run into another bomb because there's just bombs everywhere. And so it's like mass confusion, but it was just fun. I felt like all the boss fights were fun. And then the cutscenes, the story, the villain, everything with Cade 6, really, really well done. So
what about some of the gameplay mechanics or upgrades? What did they change with this Forsaken update?
You do unlock another subclass type thing. You have your 3, I guess, subclasses or whatever. And for each one, you can unlock, there's 2 separate ones that you can pick from that you can unlock abilities and special abilities for that class. You can now unlock a 3rd one for each one. So for the one I use, you can unlock a 3rd one that's more powerful and kind of changes your character a little bit. Nothing dramatic. It's still, part of what you've played before. But there was for instance, I went from my special was I basically turn into electricity and I just quickly run around jabbing people to I switched it over when I unlocked it to where I turn into electricity, but I actually turn into basically a rocket. I shoot at a patch of enemies and I blow up, and it's a huge bomb that takes out a bunch of people. and it's very powerful. So I was using it, and I would save it up for when a boss had like maybe 25% left of their health, and I'm about ready to die. I would just activate my special, launch into the boss, boom, game over. That
cool.
type of thing. Yeah. So they made some gameplay changes. They have some cool weapons. I was talking about how I unlocked a legendary bow and arrow, and at first I was
bow
like,
and arrow sounds interesting to me.
I was like, oh, I don't want this. This is stupid. I can only shoot one arrow at a time, but it's an exploding arrow. So if you get it full power, because it has like a little meter to let you know how strong your arrow is. If you go full power and launch it at their head, and it's pretty good at locking on somebody's head, and it blows up, you can knock out 4 or 5 enemies. So it's very powerful. And the cool thing is even though you're only shooting one arrow at a time and it's not super quick, it also you don't really have to reload. It's just boom, one arrow, one arrow, one arrow.
Well, and we should also mention that they did update some of the stuff that's in the menu. A number of different ways that they lay things out in the menu are a little bit different, including, now maybe this was there before and I just never saw it, but they show you the weapons that you've collected and kind of give you an idea of how far you've gotten in collecting all the different weapons. I feel like that's new, which is cool.
Yeah, it is it is
because it is a game that's so centered on loot. Even if you don't still have it, of course, but you have had that weapon, then it's on your list, kind of like filling up your list there.
Lets you know how much you've collected out of how many there are available.
Nice.
So overall, great experience. I'm not done with it. I'm definitely not done with it. In fact, before we were recording, I was about ready to log in. And then just real quick, because I've been talking for a while about Destiny 2, I jumped back into Spider-Man. I hadn't played that in a week. I played probably another hour. I enjoy it. It's good. I'm still more into Tomb Raider and Destiny 2 than I am Spider-Man. But I definitely enjoyed it more. And it was kind of cool playing it in front of my boys because they saw it and they're like, oh, Dad, I was watching YouTube videos on that. What suits do you have? Like, they were all interested in, which they're not normally interested in my games. Like, if I play Tomb Raider in front of them, they'll be like, Dad, can I play Fortnite? Can I play Fortnite? Can I play Fortnite? But this, they were like, can I see Spider-Man? Can I play Spider-Man? I was like, yeah, you can play Spider-Man. So Spider-Man's a good game. I look forward to beating Spider-Man and Tomb Raider next. And then I've just played a little bit of Dragon Quest XI. I knew this was going to happen, even when I talked about how great it was. It is good. I like it.
You haven't played it since we talked, have you?
I have. I played it today. But the problem is it's that game that's 80 hours compared to the other two that are 10 and 15 hours. I'm going to pick the 10 and 15-hour games. So I think for me, I'm just going to jump in.
And Destiny 2 isn't a big commitment, so you could jump in there and play for 30 minutes.
Destiny 2, and I've said this before, the Destiny games are like Rocket League to me. I just jump in, play until I don't feel like playing anymore, and sometimes I'll play for 2 or 3 hours. Sometimes I play for 20 minutes. But Dragon Quest is still a really cool game. I highly recommend anybody who's into RPGs, and I will continue to pick at it, but do I realistically see myself beating it? No, I never did. I don't care if people make fun of me. I bought it just to experience it and I think it's cool, and I hope to play it a little bit more. Definitely hope to play it more in Ni no Kuni 2. I just didn't care for Ni no Kuni 2 at all. So that was boring.
All right, so I've been playing, of course, Shadow of the Tomb Raider primarily yesterday and today, playing it some this weekend in between bouts of watching some football. Played a little bit of Destiny 2, although it's probably been since Wednesday or Thursday this week was last time I played a little bit of Destiny 2. Still slowly working my way through that story. Just love that game. It plays exactly like I want a shooter to play. It just feels perfect. I love the way Destiny 2 plays. Finally tried out one of those games that I got for like 50 cents on some random deal on the Switch. It was one of those random moments where I was like, let me just try something that I bought that's been sitting there. So I tried this game called Plague Road on the Switch. And it's always on sale pretty much, so you can always get it for cheap if you're interested. It's got an interesting art style, kind of looks like a pop-up storybook a little bit. You're one of those old-fashioned doctors who has a mask with one of those long noses on it, and you're trying to essentially help a whole bunch of people, send them to this farm that you can then upgrade, and they can actually become characters to battle with you or characters to upgrade your farm. And the battle system is it's a grid. So you've got maybe like a 4x8 style, or maybe it's bigger than that. Maybe it's more like 6x8 style grid where it's a turn-based battle system where you can either use your blade or your magic attacks or your gun and fight against enemies. The difficulty is very inconsistent right from the start. The battle variety is not very good. So it's not a great game, but if you're interested in it, if you like this concept of something a little bit unique and you like strategy battles, it's usually $1 or less on sale. So you can check out Plague Road. I did finish Spider-Man, finished thinking a lot more highly of it than I did last week when we talked about it. I really like this game a lot. I love the story they told. To me, it's just as good, if not better, than most of the Spider-Man movie stories. I think he did an amazing job with it. Very emotional too. Like hit me right in the feels a number of times. Did a great setup for the sequel with a whole bunch of loose threads, but still tied up this story in a satisfying way, which is not always easy to do. To leave folks wanting more, but leave them feeling kind of satisfied with what they experienced in that game. So, liked it a lot. To their credit, there's a part about 60 to 70% of the way through the game. So about 2/3 of the way through the game, where the open world goes through a makeover because of a story moment that happens. And then everything in the open world becomes much different, and you get a whole new slew of open world style missions, and they get much, much tougher in addition to the ones that you can already do. So to their credit, they do add some variety to the side missions that I was criticizing last time around. So still don't plan on 100%ing or trying to platinum this game, but with New Game Plus, you never know, might go in and give that another whirl. Great game. Love it. It has one of the best stories of the year as well. And then I finished two kind of roguelike procedurally generated style games on the Switch this week too. Finally beat the boss in Dead Cells. Love that game. It's one of my favorites of the year. Love Dead Cells. And Into the Breach, which is a very, very difficult but very fun strategy game where I talked about a little bit last week, where you only have a handful of lands you need to take over. But every time you die, you start all over again, only keeping a few pieces with you. So Into the Breach is fantastic. It's worth all the acclaim it's been getting. It won't be in my top 5 by any stretch, but it'll be an honorable mention for my top games of the year for sure, because Into the Breach was a blast. So I recommend that one as well. But yeah, right now I'm just going to be this week. I plan on just playing a lot of Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I plan on getting into some more Destiny 2 if I can. And before Assassin's Creed comes out, I'm really hoping to try out a few games that I've purchased but not played yet. I'm really hoping to finally play Darkest Dungeon and at least give it a fair shot. A few games like that on the Switch. So that's where I am this week.
Sounds like we got a lot to play.
Yeah, man. Well, listen, thanks for staying up late. I know we're almost at midnight your time and you've got work in the morning. So thanks for staying up late to chat. Thank you guys all for listening. That does it for episode 139. We're out of here.
Who is your daddy? I am the father.
You fathers will understand.
My father taught me many things here.
I got an idea. How about you all sit there quietly while I make dad noises?